We all have feelings of insecurities, which is normal and expected. But when those feelings are left unchecked, they can lead to the emotions of doubt and fear. But do we fully understand the meaning and long-term effects of doubt and fear? Can these emotions be hereditary, passed on from generational trauma? And how do changing the way we think changes which emotions to engage for the betterment of self, to becoming the better version of ourselves? You are welcome to another chapter into Dangerous Conversations. We talk about what most deal with in silence. I am your host, Tony Yvette. Doubt is a feeling of uncertainty or lack of confidence. Fear is a feeling of being afraid and in danger. This is the common definition we use. In law, doubt means the uncertainty of mind, the absence of a settled opinion or conviction. Fear means having consciousness of approaching danger. Both definitions seem similar, but the differences show the legal use is based on a perceived action and the common use is based on our perception. This tells us the common use definition for the emotions of doubt and fear does not naturally come from us. We are shown it. We are taught it. We learn how to utilize them. We learn how to depend on them. We master and incorporate them into our behavior, and it becomes an unnatural part of us. Living in survival mode. As a child, we have no doubt and we are fearless. As we all know, children are brutally honest because they have no concept of what doubt is. A child will always get into any and everything because they lack fear. But as time goes on and they grow, things will start to change based on what they have been shown and told. A child will start to develop the emotions of doubtfulness in themselves when they are in an environment where the most important people around them shows them no support towards them. When they are subjected to being told and shown they are nothing. When their basic needs are constantly not being met. Encouragement is never given. No one tells them that they are worthy. No one shows them the affection that is needed. The feelings and sense of love, happiness, and appreciation is not around them. A child starts to become fearful when they fall and no one is there to pick them up. When they try and fail and no one is there to encourage and teach. When they cry and no one wipes their tears. When they are told repeatedly they will never become anything. When they experience abuse because no one was there to protect them. As they walk into adulthood, they will develop walls around them because they understand being vulnerable equals weakness. Communication is not important. They never experience it. It will be difficult for them to show love because they never received it. They will walk around with an attitude of not caring because no one cared for them. They will be unable to be passionate because no one was passionate, loving, and patient towards them. A child will grow up to adulthood always believing, no matter how much they achieve, no matter how much they acquire, they will never be enough, not for themselves and not for anyone else. The older we become, the more easier it is to default to the emotions of doubt and fear because that is all we know. It becomes a habit. It becomes a part of us. We intentionally evoke these emotions because we feel comfortable and safe when they appear. It's all we know. It becomes our go-to place when things are not going the way it should. It becomes normal. Being depressed is accepted, and that is why we are sick mentally and physically. Emotions triggers the body responses, and depending on what we are feeling will determine how healthy we are or how sick we can become. Let's think for a moment. Healthy adults will produce healthy children. A stable home environment will produce a stable person. If our kids are being subjected to any kind of abuse, what does that say for their parents and what they may have went through? A community, a society, and a nation passes down teachings from generation to generation. If these teachings is of self-hate, then the descendants will naturally hold that same ideology and continue the cycle. When we are shown and told over and over we are unworthy, we will not only accept it as truth, we too will pass on that same ideology to the future generation. Jimmy Townsend, Marjorie Harvey's ex-husband, interviewed with Tasha K. He gave a lot of information that we can all learn from. What I took from it when he talked about the abuse he suffered by his father beginning at the tender age of 5 years old. He stated his father was the devil. He would beat him, smacking him upside his head so hard he would bleed, kicking him in his ass, chasing him around the house with an axe, and always telling him he was never going to be shit. His father was not only abusive to him, but he had to witness his father's abuse towards his mother. It was so bad he thought his mother's middle name was Bitch because that was the name his father always called her. When a child witnesses and experiences such trauma, it will follow them throughout their adulthood. That experience led to the reason why he never wanted to get married to Marjorie or have any kids by her. He stated he had held on to his pain and placed it deep down inside and covered it up with a Band-Aid. But as we know, wounds that do not heal will always be visible and bleed because he had no one to share his pain with, despite being born and raised in the church, much like most of us, just going through the motions because of family tradition. Yet and still, he had no one to talk to about what he experienced and went through. But God knows when the time is right to approach, when you are tired of being tired. When he first entered prison, that's when Christ came into his life at a time when God knows you are ready now. There's no need to fight. And so he was. No fast life, no money, no cars, no woman, no family. Just in time when you have nothing else to do but to be still, reflect, pay attention, and learn. He stated as soon as he got to prison, God did not play any games with him. He had no choice but to submit. He stated if anyone would have told him before going to prison he would go through 17 years of peace that he could not find out in the streets, he would have told them you are lying. But he did and came out with that same peacefulness, which caused Tasha K to witness and speak on the inner peace, the stillness, and the calmness that was emitting from him and through him. Years later, after prison, he was able to make up with his father, who he ended up bringing to Christ on his deathbed. He also brought his first wife, a drug user, to Christ on her deathbed. The bond with his children is one better than fathers that never went to prison. Who would have ever believed a person with his background would be the one to bring their abuser and others to Christ? Changing the way we think is the power of searching within that will bring out the emotions of doubt and fear, and that is the power of becoming the better version of self. Mary J. Blige, during her press run for her new children's book, Mary Can, was inspired by her grown-up life where all hell broke loose. As with Jimmy, Mary was too abused at the age of 5 years old. What came next was the emotions of doubt and fear. For years, Mary did not like herself, her voice, what she looked like, how she walked, how she talked. As she went into her teenage years, life got rough, and in her adulthood, life got even worse. She explained she was bombarded by negative people that came into her life and will continue from where she left off by reinforcing her thoughts. They would tell her, you can't, you won't, you're ugly. And that too carried and continued in her personal relationship because she found someone who would water her own self-doubt, fear, and insecurities with much of the same. You're not this, you're not that, you can't, You're not attractive. This person is better looking than you. This person is more talented than you. She was going through hell because she believed the lies that was being fed to her because of her lack of self-love she had for herself. But one day she got tired of being tired, of hating herself and feeling that feeling. You know, we know. She began searching for her healing, and once that take place, it would come through all walks of life. And that is when she heard T.D. Jakes say, what you think about you, what you say about you, and what you believe about you is more effective and more important than what anyone says or think about you. It clicked deep down inside her. If you believe you are nothing, everyone you come in contact with will solidify that thought. Changing the way we think is the power of searching within to bring out the emotions of doubt and fear and becoming the better version of self. So she started small, but only repeating affirmations of self-love. But that did not come easy. Nothing of substance ever do. She did not believe in the affirmations she was repeating to herself, but she kept speaking positivity over herself. She did not believe she was gorgeous, but she understood this was bigger than her. As she would do every day, reciting positive affirmations to herself, she started to see it manifest within and through herself. And that is when Good Morning Gorgeous was born. Not only was she able to take herself out of the hell she found herself in, it became the motivation behind giving back by telling her story through her new book, Mary Can. Healing from within is a lifelong committed process that has to take place. So let's start by saying some positive affirmation for healing right now, here today. I love you. I can, I am, and I will. I am a masterpiece, because a masterpiece can only come from within. That thing you are afraid of is you. When you accept all of you, the good, the bad, and ugly, then you will know you are this, and you will know you are not that. Then no one can mess with you or tell you anything different. But you have to find it yourself by believing in yourself. I had a financial lawyer that did my clemency paperwork to be released from prison. If I would have known, I would have gotten a criminal lawyer. But God showed me, you don't need no criminal lawyer. I got you. I take the simple thing of the world to confound the wise. We all have our separate path that will lead us to realizing we are much bigger than our past experience. We are not defined by what we went through. We are liberated by the strength it took us to break through. Self-realization is the greatest service you give to humanity. Self-preservation is the greatest gift you give to yourself. Don't let your past traumatic experience dim your light. Use it to brighten it. Becoming the master of your fate, the master of self, and the captain of your soul. When you are free, God shines within you, and through you we see God. Let's start this journey together, understanding there is only one of us, one universe, one love, and one consciousness. Remember to always stay curious and to conquer it all. See you on the other side.